Hey guys, and welcome to the Invar Technologies Podcast, a podcast where we interview top-level executives inside leading and growing companies in the food industry. We're excited to have our guest today, Longchi Foma. We'll be diving into his story, a little bit about what his company, Calera, does, and some engaging insights into the industry as well. So I'll kind of just go ahead and kick it off to you, Longchi. If you could just, introduce yourself and why don't you tell a little, quick snippet of your story and your background prior to working at Calera.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Again, my name is Longchi Foma. I was born in Cameroon, Africa. I moved over here to the state when I was around 14, lived in New York for a little bit, transitioned over there in Dallas, Texas, stayed there, finished high school, decided to go to the military, did the military for a little while, got out, and I wanted to do something different. So I went to school, tried to be a petroleum engineer, graduated. Then I worked in Schlumberger. I did everything from fracturing, coiled tubing, and a little bit of wireline. Then I thought I was going to retire with Schlumberger, but unfortunately, market condition has its own things that comes up. So I'll find myself out of a job, just like everybody else that gets laid off. So I was searching for something, and I happened to stumble into Calera. At that time, they were building a facility here in Humble. I had the opportunity to join the company, loved it, commissioned the actual facility here, and we've been running ever since.
It's awesome, man. I always love to hear the stories of how people get into things, and sometimes it's by chance that you come across something, but then it's
Exactly.
you start to realize that I want to stay here, and it's something that
Yeah.
and I definitely think I was checking out what you guys are doing over there at Calera. It's definitely something unique, and it's something haven't seen in the industry. But what is it about kind of like the food manufacturing, food production industry that you really like and kind of are passionate about it, at least?
Well, I mean, food is what we eat, right? And especially now with everybody so conscious about what they actually take into their body, because your gut is everything. That's your second brain. So just being able to see the whole process from start to finish. And we doing something here that's, a little bit better than what you see out there in typical agriculture. No pesticides being used here. Very clean product that we create. And gotta say, it tastes really good.
Yeah. No, and obviously you've only been in the company for a little bit, but I'm curious as to kind of the trends that you're currently seeing inside of the market, inside of the food industry. If you can kind of touch on any of those that maybe you're aware of, being working for a company like Calera that you've seen.
Oh, most definitely, especially in the vertical farming sector or controlled environment agriculture. There's some pretty big trend that's going on. I think the first one is technological advances. To dive into that, look at continuous innovation when it comes to LED lighting, right? Hydroponic systems, then automation, data analytics, to drive efficiency and productivity, and also scalability in the vertical farming operation. Another one would be just indoor farming facility itself, just the expansion of that idea. You I know in the past they had some very large investments, but it's kind of slowed down. But you still have the farms that are being built all over the United States, right, from different companies. Focus on sustainability, that's a big one too. As things are going on with climate changes, whether you believe it or not, there are some things happening, polar changes. So just having that sustainability, you'll be able to grow year round without any elemental changes. It's a big deal. I think that one, there's a very huge focus on sustainability. And I think also just diversification of crops offering, right? So again, having a facility that's just close to proximity of a dense area to be able to provide the leafy greens as easily accessible rather than trucking all the way from California all the way here.
Definitely. Yeah, I love that you bring those points up, and I'm curious as to how they tie into Calera. And why don't you do this? Why don't you just tell a little bit about what the main products are that you kind of offer over there at Calera?
Yeah. So primarily, Calera is specialized in indoor vertical farming. We utilize an advanced hydroponic LED lighting technology to produce high quality leafy greens and herbs. We have lettuce. We cultivate a range of different type of lettuce, from including baby romaine, butterhead, red leaf, and also green leaf. We have herbs such as arugula and basil, and also microgreens that we do grow here in our
Got
facility.
it. Got it. Yeah, I'm a big arugula guy.
Ah,
I love making some good arugula.
for sure.
What would you say are kind of I know you did touch on it, kind of like
Mm,
the obviously no pesticides. I love
right.
that aspect of Calera. But what would you also say are kind of the unique value that their products really bring to their consumers?
For sure. Again, year-round availability, that's a unique side of it. Utilizing indoor farming technology, we could produce fresh local greens and herbs year-round, regardless of seasonal limitations or weather conditions. So that's number one. In terms of when I say weather conditions, there are some limitations when it comes to that too, because if the power is taken out, therefore
Yeah.
we will be impacted on that also. But again, it's just the consistency on supply of fresh produce that's easily accessible to the customers in close proximity to the farm.
No, yeah, those are some great points, and I love that you bring that up.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of wanted to maybe segue just a tad. Obviously, we talked a little bit about Calera and kind of,
Yeah.
exactly what you guys are building over there. That's great. But I did want to also get your opinion. We over here at Invar Technologies, we're a technology company. We're always curious to see,
Hmm.
what is going on in certain industries in terms of their technology usage in relationship to operations, or the different side aspects of technology itself and how it kind of plays into a company. So,
Okay.
in the industry itself, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges in relationship to technology?
I have about 3 points I'm going to tag into this one. Make that 4 points. Number one will be automation and robotics integration. When you implement an automation robotics, can be challenging due to the complexity of the food, and also when you're dealing with precision and hygiene, right? Bringing those two, that could be complex sometimes. So there is that part. And when we start looking at managing large set of data, sensors and equipment, production processes to optimize efficiency and quality, that could lead to some daunting, because again, you deal with sensors, and sometimes you deal with highly corrosive chemicals. Sometimes when you're dealing with it, which would damage your sensors, then you have to replace it. So there's a cost aspect to that. So that's another challenge. Sustainability, environmental impact, just balancing technology advances with sustainable practices, so it doesn't impact the environment as much. So maximizing productivity poses a significant challenge, right? So just trying to make sure we do the best we can to reduce that impact in the actual environment itself. Another one is regulatory compliance. Just as the whole industry evolves over time, there's a lot of compliances standard that changes. It's just being able to meet those standards and stay with it.
Definitely, yeah, and that's a great point. I'm glad that you brought those up too, because something that we see with a lot of our the clients is that
Mhm.
compliance issue, right? It's
Correct.
especially in the industry, it's constantly being up to you, constantly having to adhere to new rules. So it's definitely have to be on top of those things, and also the relationship to technology. I know you're on the operational side of things, right? You're obviously
Mhm.
driving a lot of the strategy yourself. What would you say are kind of the challenges in kind of operating a food manufacturing production company?
Yeah.
And the follow up to that would
Mhm.
be just some general advice on what you found really helpful to kind of overcome those challenges you have.
For sure. Which I'm gonna just keep it general. Number one is supply chain disruption. Of course,
Mhm.
just developing resilient supply chains, diversifying suppliers, and also just implementing contingency plans to mitigate any disruption, because that do happen here, right?
Yeah.
You know, um, Labor shortages, that's another one. So investing in automation and robotics technology to augment labor. Then of course, if you have existing labor, you have to upskill them,
Mhm.
and also streamline the process to reduce the reliance on manual labor. That could be challenging too, because there's the cost aspect of it, right? Do you spend on
Yeah.
automation, or what is the IRR, the rate of return on that one compared to using manual labor? If you're using manual labor, how much can you take on before you start on a losing battle? So that's one thing. Then I would say food safety and quality assurance. That's another huge one. Yeah. Just implement a robust quality measures, adhering to strict hygiene standards. That's another one. And also just invest in the technology that allow you to see things in real time.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
of course, cost management.
Yeah. That's for everyone. That goes beyond industry, right?
That's right. That's right.
You know, I always like to ask this question because it's definitely more in terms of the uh, opinion based, right? But I'm always
Mhm.
curious. What do you think is the type of mindset that's really needed to be, in your case, a successful general manager?
There is a couple of things. Okay, let's go with strategic thinking. I think that's a good one. Just the willingness to be adaptive to change, the market changes, technological advances, and regulatory requirements to just being able to adapt to that. That's number one. The ability to inspire, motivate a team, foster collaboration, and also lead by example. You know, I'll even say that's the top of the list. Lead by example.
Yeah,
Um, Problem solving. You a little bit of an analytical mindset. Just needs and satisfaction. You're striving to deliver product because at the number one, you have to be. We service based company, so you have to deliver the product. You got to execute. So just
definitely,
having an execution mindset. And the last one I would say, just continuous learning. Just be a student of everybody, student of everything. Stay
yeah,
updated to the industry trends, best practices, emerging technology to drive innovation, and just maintaining a competitive edge.
definitely. There's some great points, and I think not even just for general manager, but for a lot of executive positions. I think one of the things that you mentioned, obviously, leading by example. I think that that's so
That's right.
important, right?
That's
Being
definitely got to lead by example.
yeah, being that person where it's not just me telling you to do something, but it's like I've also done that, or else I'm also adhering to the same standards as which I'm applying to you, and I think that
Correct.
that's important. Just in inspiring that culture and inspiring
Right.
the people around you to want to listen to you rather than have to listen to you as a necessity, right?
Correct.
It's important to
And
have
it
that
gives
level.
you a different type of authority too, right? Because you're not just speaking from somebody that doesn't have the experience. You have experience you're talking about. So I think it gives some value that's very intangible.
Definitely. And I was gonna say that also the other thing that you mentioned, which is the you know always having that eagerness to learn and
That's
the
right.
willingness to understand that there's always something more to learn, right? I
That's
think
right.
sometimes people stagnate in careers or they stagnate wherever they are because they think they've learned enough, right? They've
Exactly.
gotten to a point where, like, you know what, there's nothing else you can't teach me. I know about this, I know about that. And I think that's the most, it's the cancerous thing that you could do in terms of growth in any place, right? Whatever your position is, there's always something more to learn and seeking that information as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just I believe, the humbleness to be able to listen and also just know that you don't know everything. I think that's a good habit in life in general.
definitely. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. It's the mindset that I tried to abide by. I think always reading, always trying to learn something new. There's always you can learn something from everyone too, and I think that's an important thing too
For sure.
to take in. Um, what what type of are there any technologies that you guys are looking right now? You obviously don't have to disclose anything, but is there anything that you're looking as a company to implement inside of the business right now in terms of different systems or something that you have on the horizon?
Well, like I mentioned before, there's always improvement in the industry itself. From looking at the lighting from IoT side, or just looking at just how we manage nutrients here, right? So we always trying to refine the equipments and just to make sure our visualization, the way we see things, is a little bit much more improved. And the farming system, just invest in the system overall, just to maximize space and see what we can do to optimize our production and efficiencies. That's something we're looking at, and I believe every company should be looking at stuff
Yeah.
like that too. Just have as much precision as possible, right? In implementing on sensors and to help control the environment, anywhere from temperature and nutrients and just overall thing that's going to make us more efficient and find ways to save money while doing so.
Yeah. So I know it's always hard to say, 5 to 10 year plans because they're
Mhm.
so far out, but in terms of the vision for the next 12 months for yourself first and then the company, what does that look like?
Well, in general, it's expansion and growth. That would be number one. The focus on expanding the product capacity. Diversifying products offerings and exploring new market and distribution channels. That would be number one. Innovation and technology adaptation. Just continuously innovate, invest in cutting edge technology to enhance production and quality and sustainability. Um, Partnership and collaboration. Forging strategic partnership with suppliers, customers, and maybe some research institution if that's on the table. That's things that you have mutual beneficial relationship. And again, continuous improvement. Implement a culture of continuous improvement and learning, fostering employee engagement. Empowering to drive operational excellence.
I love it. I love it. What about for you, Longchi? What's the long-term vision for you, man? What's
A
the
long-term vision for me, man, just again keep pushing myself, keep learning, keep implementing what I'm learning, and try to see what I can do. Like what can I do to push myself to get to that next level. It could be anywhere from physically to mentally, spiritually, financially, all the way around.
I love it. I love it. I love the there's certain people that you always can, you can understand that they just love to improve, right? That's
For
one of
sure.
the things that I'm always like, I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday, right? If I can do
Hey,
that, I'm not competing against, him or her or whoever it may be. I'm competing
right.
against myself every single day. Am I a better version of myself today than I was yesterday? Am I learning from my mistakes? Am I able
That's
to,
right.
advance from them? So I love that. I love that mindset that you have.
Yeah.
You've
Because
been dropping some nuggets of wisdom throughout this call, but I'm curious. I always like to ask, what are the most important things you've learned in your career, man? What are the most important things that you'd be willing to share with the audience?
yes, one of the most important thing I've learned in my career is that my first reaction is the wrong reaction.
Mm,
So I always pause first and think about it, then address it after. Learn to listen more, because again, I never know all the whole picture, so I listen. Um, I turn to try to. What I've learned is that you invest in people, you get tenfold back, right?
mm.
So, and just
I love
lead by example. That's the best way I could put it. And just again, don't be scared to do work because
it. Yeah,
it get you further. I don't mean just walk, work, but work smart, but don't be scared to do work.
definitely, definitely. And I think that it's so. The first point you brought up, not acting on impulse, I think is
That's
so
right.
important. Something that a mentor told me, was the initial reaction you have to something, like especially when something is urgent or it pops up out of nowhere, you're like, oh, you want to
Hmm.
respond to it right away. You want to immediately try to fix it or whatever it may be. But sometimes you have to, like you said, take a step back
Yeah.
and even say, let me come back to this, and having that, not putting it off, but understanding that I can come back to this because I want to come into it with a clear mind rather than a frantic mind. And
Correct.
sometimes having that impulse to just react is definitely can be the, like I've noticed it in what I've been doing.
Hmm.
The want to responding right away, wanting to get something out of the way, typically ends in doesn't end good for me, right? Like, or it could end up better if I were to just take my time, be patient. And I think that just comes with like experience and comes with learning and being more mature in the positions that you hold, right? Because with great power comes great responsibility, right? So
That's
as
right.
you kind of get that responsibility, you have to understand that there's certain ways that you have to conduct yourself, right? And one of them is being that level-headed,
That's
not
right.
reactionary to those initial emotions that come in. So I love that you bring
That's
that up.
right. The humility side of it, not to take yourself so seriously, um, and just be like, you know what? Hey, I may not know everything, but I know something. But I may not know everything. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, Longchi, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. I'm so happy that you came on the show. I'm happy that people got to kind of hear a little bit about your story and also about what Kalera is doing. Definitely think it's something special, and I'm excited to see where you grow and also where the company continues to grow as well. Um, if people are obviously listening to this, they either want to maybe reach out to you, contact you. What's a good way to get a hold of you?
yeah, they could contact me by LinkedIn. Also, I think that would be the best way to contact me by LinkedIn. And again, what's cool about this area is that we partner sometimes with some local schools, and seeing those young kids come up here to check out the farm kind of inspire them to do more, right? See the different discipline that takes to build this facility. I think that's fantastic.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I agree. I think it's always important to inspire the youth, right?
For
And give
sure.
them and that in essence inspires you, right? it's a it's a
100%.
two it's a two-way street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely.
Well, well, thanks again, Longchi. I appreciate it again. If you guys did make it all the way to the end, we do appreciate you watching. If you could just like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and we hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you again, Longchi. Take care, guys. Ciao.